NASA has a problem, and it's actually kind of hilarious. So they've made the International Space Station too clean. It's so clean that it's actually making astronauts sick. Now you would think that keeping a space station clean is a good thing, right? It makes sense on paper. Well, astronauts are in a sealed metal tube floating in space, and the last thing NASA wants is germs running wild. And so they're cleaning and disinfecting things all the time, which again, it sounds like the right thing to do. But where it's backfiring is the ISS is so sterile right now that astronauts' immune systems are starting to freak out. They're developing allergies, rashes, and all these other weird health issues. And keep in mind that these aren't just random people off the street. Astronauts go through insane health screenings before they ever leave Earth, and they're supposed to be in peak condition. They're leaving Earth healthy, they should be returning to Earth healthy, there should be nothing developing in between. So why are they getting sick? Well, down here on Earth, we're surrounded by millions of microbes all the time. They're in the air that you breathe, they're on your skin, they're in your food, you get the idea. And it's actually a good thing. Our immune systems need exposure to different microbes so that it can stay strong. Think of it kind of like a muscle. If you don't use it, it's gonna get weaker. So if your immune system never has to deal with microbes, it starts to overreact to the tiniest things. And that's what's happening to these astronauts. Scientists looked at the ISS's microbial environment, and it's similar to a COVID-19 isolation ward. That's how extreme the sterilization is. And astronauts aren't getting the normal exposure that their bodies were used to back here on Earth, and that's what's messing them up. And where it gets worse is, you know how using too much hand sanitizer on Earth can lead to stronger antibiotic-resistant bacteria? Well, that same thing is happening in space. By wiping out all the weaker, harmless microbes, NASA's unintentionally creating the perfect conditions for the strongest and most stubborn bacteria to survive. So instead of a natural mix of good and bad microbes, the ISS is basically a breeding ground for the worst germs possible. And that's not ideal when you're stuck in a spaceship for months and there's no hospital around. Turns out NASA's best move is to stop trying hard to keep things incredibly perfectly clean. Instead of over-sanitizing, scientists are saying that the ISS should have more good microbes to balance things out. And one idea is to have plants. They naturally bring beneficial microbes into the environment, and they would make the space station feel a little bit less like a floating hospital. Some researchers are even saying that future space missions shouldn't be sterile like this. Instead, they should have a full ecosystem of plants and soil and microbes, just everything to create a healthier living space. Because if we do want to send astronauts to Mars, we can't just shove them in this disinfected metal box for months and months and expect them to stay healthy, because that's not going to happen. And for years, NASA thought that they were protecting astronauts by keeping the ISS spotless. But that's the funny news. It turns out that they were actually making things like 10 times worse. And this is a perfect example of how trying too hard to fix a problem can sometimes backfire. And honestly, if NASA can screw something up as simple as too much cleaning, then maybe we should all rethink our obsession with sterilizing everything down here on Earth all the time. Thank you for watching.